This video is sponsored and approved by Freedom. Minor spoilers from this point until this point in the video. I'm going to refrain from implying who lives and who dies and any of the major plot beats for now. I've seen James Gunn's The Suicide Squad twice in the cinema now, and I'm really happy to report that it's fantastic. It's the perfect thing to coax you back into the movie theatre, and it's bombastic and fun in all the ways that are distinctly James Gunn. It feels director-led, it's distinctly James Gunn in all the ways that 2016 Suicide Squad was not distinctly David Ayer. The man made freaking Training Day, and you wouldn't be able to recognise a shred of the talent behind that in WB's butchered theatrical cut.
You know, I think it's in a company's best interest to listen to their audience. And if it's something that's so in demand and they got it, why not?
All the talent was just cut away. Ironic that they tried to turn Ayer's cut into a Guardians of the Galaxy jukebox thing, and they just ended up hiring James Gunn. On that note, it navigates the tricky ground between being a remake and a sequel at the same time. Characters from the first movie have these relationships where they know each other and you can tell that they've gone on adventures before, but they don't explicitly mention what those adventures are. So if you hated 2016 Suicide Squad, you can go into this pretending it's all new, and if you liked 2016 Suicide Squad, then, you know, good on you. Rick Flag and Harley and Boomerang are all back, and Waller, who is fantastic. She was fantastic in the first movie, she's fantastic in this one. Viola Davis, I'm really glad that she got to put Amanda Waller to good use, because she's the best thing in the first movie, by a mile.
This ain't World War II.
It's World War III.
But yeah, if you hated it, you can imagine this as being in its own separate universe, which is something that I wish Warner Brothers did with Green Lantern all the way back in 2011. The casting of Mark Strong as Sinestro is so awesome, and I think Ryan Reynolds could still have been a good Green Lantern, so I think if they just made a sequel and, you know, made it like a semi-soft reboot, same cast comes back, we kind of reference the events of the first film, but not explicitly, so that if you didn't like it, you can just go into that fresh and fall in love with Green Lantern all over again. I wish they'd done that, rather than making us wait 10 plus years for more Green Lantern content. Funnily enough, it was actually Green Lantern that had the first live-action adaptation of Amanda Waller, although she wasn't anywhere near the that she is in this movie. Am I allowed to say I've not enjoyed Big Driss in much for the last few years. I feel like he keeps getting miscast in things that aren't quite right for him, like Hobbs and Shaw.
Who the hell are you?
Bad guy.
They clearly wanted the character to be a bit of a wise ass in that, but a lot of his lines just don't feel right coming out of Elba's mouth. In the Suicide Squad, his brand of British pissiness works perfectly.
We're all gonna die.
I hope so.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He's funny because he's the character in the middle of it all, pointing out how stupid everyone is and how dangerous the situation they're in. Dubois is a stone-cold tank, and he gets a wealth of cool moments. Seriously, his suit, where he's just pulling off different pieces of, like, kind of nanotech weaponry, is so awesome. I seriously could not get enough of that. And the xenomorph mask. It's straight up a xenomorph, isn't it? Like, to a T. Fantastic. It's the perfect thing to get me back into editing my Alien video that is coming out very soon. His tech-based powers are absolute bullshit nonsense, but no more nonsense than the nanotech Iron Man suit. If anything, this Inspector Gadget dubbed nanotech gear makes a little more sense. Every piece he can transform into a gun comes attached to his suit. Even though he pulls a bunch of different oversized guns out of thin air, it always feels like there's a soft rule tied to the capabilities of his suit. He's not OP. You never feel like he can just keep pulling guns out of his arse indefinitely, but he feels suitably powerful and packs a satisfying wallop in every action beat to feature the character. I'm not gonna lie, in the trailers I thought this gun shit was gonna be really lame, but it worked well in the movie, and it turns out he's packing a lot more than just guns. Think less Deadshot and more Boba Fett. Bloodsport totally blows my mind. Peacemaker was not quite what I expected. I thought he was going to be a bit more outwardly nasty and more of an arsehole to people, but he's characterised more as an idiot who does the things he does because of his obsessively rigid principles. He doesn't revel in the bad things he does like I was expecting him to do. And there's even one crucial moment where he seems to deeply regret his choice, in spite of being compelled to do so no matter the cost. Also, there's a fucking fantastic gag between these two that pays off in the most unexpected but satisfying way later on. I'm not going to touch on too many more characters here because, as I pointed out in a lot of the initial reviews, talking about the standout characters kind of gives away who is going to live and who is going to die. Bloodsport and Peacemaker you can get away with because they're in so many promotional scenes, but I'll reserve talking about the others. Rest assured though, this has some strong character work, the kind you would expect from James Gunn. It doesn't quite reach the dizzying heights of the emotional stakes in Guardians Volume 2, but I think there's a lot of fun to be had here, plus it's got the added benefit of the R rating and all the gore you could ask for. It's probably the most fun James Gunn action has ever been. Plus, it's not really trying to beat Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of making you weep. Gunn harkens more back to films like Super and Slither, as much as he continues his trademark expertise with lovable losers like the Guardians and the Mystery Machine Gang. Even though this film is R-rated, a departure from the family-friendly Guardians movies, the same recurring themes in Gunn's work spring up again. The importance of childhood and innocence, offset by the exploration of parental trauma and abuse, is well realised, and gives this more heart than the last handful of straight-to-streaming blockbuster movies we've had to endure. Thanks to an R rating, we get to hear some pretty messed up details pertaining to the origins of the main characters. There's nuance to every parent-child relationship in the movie, but every single one entertains a different kind of toxicity. Gunn mines these backstories for tragedy, unexpected moments of humour, and ultimately the movie's biggest cathartic moment.
Oh, hello, I just popped down the apples and stairs. I'm British Peacemaker.
How do you do?
Ah, yes, I love killing folks for Queen and country. It's me, British Peacemaker. A cheery bye.
It's an open secret that Starro the Conqueror is in the movie. What can I say about him without giving too much away? Well, all I will say is he's the perfect combination of being incredibly goofy and then super eerie and creepy. You would not want to get anywhere near one of those fucking things, and it would do some horrible H.R. Geiger shit to you. There's also a line from this character that comes at a point in the movie where you really want to see him get blasted to bits, and it adds so much more unexpected humanity to the character. It completely flips your idea of that creature on its head, and it's the kind of vulnerability and perspective that was added to something so cosmic and huge like Ego in the second movie of Guardians. You've definitely seen elements of all this in other comic book movies, but Gunn knows how to keep you guessing and gives you great characterization cut from D-list comic book roots. It feels unique thanks to its combination of gore, humour and pathos. People are always coming out and saying that the insert latest superhero film is the best superhero film ever. I'm sure someone out there has already used the headline, "It's the best DC movie since The Dark Knight." Whilst the movie was great, I think it's going to take some time to settle in before placing it in the upper echelons of the genre. Guardians 2 has stayed with me more and more as the years have gone on, and I think Gunn's work will stand the test of time better than most comic book fare these days. Overall, I really enjoyed it. There's just one tiny element of it that I think undermines the whole premise, and that is including an A-list character like Harley Quinn. Now, I know she was in the first movie, but the first movie didn't really adhere to the premise of the Suicide Squad in the first place. It was made up of huge, big stars like Will Smith, and it was clear that very few of the squatters were actually going to get killed, outside of Slipknot.
Here comes Slipknot, the man who can climb anything.
And maybe one big self-sacrifice at the end.
I lost one family, I ain't gonna lose another one.
Yeah, Diablo dying wasn't really the big moment I think they were going for. A year ago I made a video about the Suicide Squad and how it is often at odds with its premise and its adaptations. It's made me think about DC's not so merry band of not quite heroes and why they've struggled to find the relevance Warner Brothers have wanted. Suicide Squad media rarely adheres to its central premise because it's too eager to build a brand around staple characters akin to a more marketable team like the Justice League or the Avengers. Suicide Squad as a brand is always in some way at odds with its premise, that these guys are on an all or nothing suicide mission. And if you're thinking, yeah, they're called the Suicide Squad, I don't think you're meant to take it literally. I kind of think you're supposed to take it a little bit literally. The original John Ostrander run killed off villains left and right, but the original 2016 movie featured a bunch of characters they obviously weren't going to kill off. Killer Croc, Harley Quinn, Deadshot. The recently announced Suicide Squad game is set to feature Deadshot, Boomerang, Harley and King Shark, another roster that's full of characters that are at least B tier. They're unlikely to get killed, and I feel like having 4 characters to choose from in a Suicide Squad game kind of goes against, what's fun about that premise. You should have loads and loads of squatters to choose from that you can just kill and you can't revive them, and you have to just get to the end of the game on you know, as many squatters as you can handle. That would make it feel more like the movie experience that James Gunn is going for, where they're just absolutely expendable, and the fun is seeing them pick fights with each other, or make the wrong decisions, or turn and run away.
The man who can climb anything.
You can't kill any members of the Justice League or Avengers unceremoniously, but you can with the Suicide Squad. That's what makes them worth watching over any other team. So in the lead up to James Gunn's movie, I was hoping that it would fully straighten that out by giving us a super villain bloodbath. And they did. Although I would have preferred some deaths spread out across the runtime, the opening sequence which sees Mongal, the Detachable Kid, Captain Boomerang, Javelin, and Blackguard, and Savant meeting a bunch of undignified and unsanitary ends. Within 10 minutes, the Suicide Squad does a better job at realising the premise of the original comic books than the 2016 original did in its entirety. And even though we don't get any more deaths until the third act, they come thick and fast. Rick Flag, Kinda Peacemaker, The Thinker and Polka Dot Man, they all perish, and even the characters that survive get some good near misses. When King Shark gets bloodied and torn to shreds by the multicoloured fish, and then he drops down to the ground, and you see a single tear come out of his mouth, like, they play that as if he is dead, and the movie is established that anyone can go at that point, so it kind of has that feeling of like when Game of Thrones was good, where pretty much any character outside of Daenerys, Tyrion and Jon Snow could go. And part of the reason why that show ended up becoming a bit stale is it ended up focusing more and more on those three characters, but it became more and more readily apparent that these three were unkillable. Apart from Daenerys in the final episode, but that obviously doesn't count. I mean, like, through the story, they weren't not going to get to the final episode. When King Shark had that single tear after thinking he'd finally made some proper friends, you know, that felt like the kind of tragic payoff that would come with that character indeed dying. So you do kind of believe it, and then when he's sort of like woken up by all the bullets hitting him, that's such a great moment because you're like, oh yes, King Shark, he's alive, fantastic. And that's part of the fun of this premise that you can't get with the Avengers, you know, because like at any moment, all of these characters, you truly feel like something could just come off screen out of the corner and like humorously kill them off, and they might not get any resolutions to their arcs, and you know, like, no one is safe. There's only one character that defies this premise so vivaciously, and that is of course Harley Quinn. There's some big name actors, but the comic book characters aside from Harley are all from lesser known or less celebrated areas of the canon. They're a whole bunch of D-listers basically. So she sticks out like a sore thumb in this movie where she didn't in the first one. You were confident going into the movie that Quinn wouldn't die. It's the equivalent of sticking a multi-picture deal MCU character on the squad, when Margo Robbie is one of the DCEU's biggest stars, and she's already starred in 2 movies before this one in a leading capacity. Well, there's no way they're going to kill her off in The Suicide Squad, is there? And like every second she's on screen and she's safe, it's really jarring compared to like that King Shark moment, because you kind of want that to happen for every character. Obviously there's more to any narrative than just the perils of death, and Harley still has interesting things to say and do here. She's not devoid of any greatness. To the contrary, her scenes with General Luna are both hilarious and proof of her growth across these movies. Once a damaged slave to an abusive boyfriend, now she's self-actualizing and independent, never again willing to be played, intimidated or bullied into submission. Gunn doles this out in a hilarious and heartbreaking moment as Luna drags himself across the floor and he's bleeding out whilst Harley talks about, you know, her history with bad men and why she wasn't going to let this happen again. Harley's role in the movie just feels a little bit divorced from everything else. She doesn't even meet up with the main squad members until the third act of the movie. It's not that anything she does isn't fun or predictably well delivered by Robbie, it's just that her action pales in comparison to every other action beat because there's no conceivable way she's going to bite the dust. The shock of seeing the initial squad gunned down, the tragedy of seeing Rick Flag brutally murdered by Peacemaker, the sadness in seeing Polka Dot Man finally exclaim that he's a superhero only to get squished, the Thinker begging, pleading with Starro that he's going to change before being absolutely ripped to shreds. All of those moments, the King Shark near miss, all of those moments are what define the movie. They're the best parts about the movie because they genuinely keep you on the edge of your seat. And then it cuts to Harley and you're like, well, we're safe for the next 10 minutes, nothing bad's going to happen. How's she going to get out of this one? Having an A-lister like Harley Quinn just doesn't quite work. I enjoy her scenes, but they could almost be part of a different narrative. There's nothing that she does that feels intrinsic to the squad's overarching battle, and it doesn't really capitalise on the idea that she's a returning squad member. I love how chaotic and unpredictable the character is, and she has great banter with the squad in what little time she gets with them, but it does detract from the central idea. Don't get too attached. Apart from Harley Quinn, You can totally get attached. She's not going anywhere. We've still got 9 more movies of Harley Quinn, don't you worry. Seeing Harley break out of prison, utilising her gymnastics and fighting prowess was great. It's the kind of sequence that sells you on the idea that she is no ordinary woman, her agility and strength at the peak possible levels. This is someone who definitely would give Batman and the Joker a run for their money, and that's something I didn't really get a sense of in the first Suicide Squad movie. She's kind of just a person with a bat. It's not really going to help much, guys. And in heels, I really hate that trope. It's so ridiculous. And then in The Dark Knight Rises, they try to explain it as like Catwoman stabs people with her heels. That was a new low. You know, Harley's better served in The Suicide Squad on an emotional level and a spectacle level, but I think she's just kind of outgrown the need to be on the team. If anything, I think Harley Quinn should be off doing her own movies or popping up in other DCEU movies, and the squad should go off and do its own thing. Harley doesn't need the Suicide Squad anymore, and I don't think the Suicide Squad needs Harley, because the Suicide Squad works best when it's a character like Polka Dot Man, who we all think's a joke, and we don't really care if he sucks, and a director like James Gunn comes in and comes up with all these new wonderful ideas, like about this interdimensional virus and all this sort of stuff. Completely kind of reworking the character from the ground up and making them memorable in a way they weren't before. And then, of course, he can kill him, because he's not a character that's tied into any multi-picture deals or any overarching endgame. Harley is well served, it just doesn't seem particularly necessary. The extended sequence where Harley and Luna fall in love grinds the jungle plot to a halt for 20 minutes, and then she doesn't really get anything to do beyond running around killing people. Like, don't get me wrong, she's great fun, Margo Robbie is as good as ever, but I can't help thinking that the character could be better utilised in, you know, literally anything else. The recent Harley Quinn show is fantastic. It's a great deep dive into her abuse at the hands of the Joker, how she moves forward from that, and what it means to be a Harley Quinn when she's no longer stepping in someone else's shadow. King Shark, Psycho and Poison Ivy make for a great cast of characters, and I can't wait for the next season. So there's no way a Harley Quinn movie with her name in flashing lights wouldn't attract attention. Birds of Prey underperformed, but I don't think that has anything to do with the audience's love for Harley Quinn. Warner Brothers proved they didn't really know how to sell Birds of Prey when they changed the title like a week after the release in cinemas, so they thought, because they thought the algorithm would be better served, the SEO would be more searchable. It was a loose adaptation of another comic book team, and didn't know if it wanted to sell itself as such or as the Harley Quinn solo movie. But a Harley movie from the ground up, I think that could still do well. I wouldn't change what's in this latest outing, but I think after 2 movies, the Suicide Squad and Harley need to take a break. I think I'd much rather see Harley Quinn get her name on the title card for a solo adventure that could really explore her mythology. Enough people love Margo Robbie, and the action potential for the character is totally there. I'd love to see Harley, who's quite a grounded character, go into like a cosmic setting, because that would be something different for her. Like, what if she's just going through the multiverse, killing Jokers and freeing Harley Quinns? You could meet Tara Strong's Harley Quinn, Kaylee Coco's Harley Quinn. She could steamroll Jared Leto's Joker in the first 10 minutes, and it's just absolutely hilarious. She could go meet an alternate reality, you know, divorced from the movie continuity of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. She could meet Jack Nicholson's Joker, could we wheel him out? She could go to like the animated world and, as I say, meet Tara Strong, but also she could fight Mark Hamill's Joker. And I just like the idea of her just going around, meeting all different kinds of Jokers, meeting different Harley Quinns and seeing what their relationship to him is like, and ultimately, you know, if she became this like liberator of multiversal Harley Quinns, that would be really cool. That idea sucks. And also, you know, I just want a scene where she just batters Jared Leto's Joker. Like, just, you know, you think you're damaged. Not yet. Oh, not yet, boy. I have one other minor nitpick. Peter Capaldi is fantastic as the Thinker, and his characterization as a perverse, gleeful, back-talking scientist makes him the perfect evil genius for an exposition dump at the start of the 3rd act. But he goes just a bit too soon, you know, just a bit too soon for this Doctor Who fanboy. I could have done with 10, 20 more scenes of him. I thought we were only going to get him for a scene, so the amount of screen time Capaldi gets is a blessing. Plus he goes full Malcolm Tucker on Rick Flag. Fucking American Doodle Dandies! My nitpick with this character comes from his powers. We're told in his first scene that the nodes attached to his head make his brain good, but we don't see him doing any kind of like Robert Downey Jr. Sherlockian deductions. There's nothing to suggest that he's like super smart or like abnormally smart. He's just like a really good scientist. And also in the reveal trailer at Fandom last year, the character reveal trailer, the Thinker is like shooting lightning out of his hands. So that would clearly imply some sort of like electrokinesis, no? We were goddamn lied to. I could have at least seen him having like telepathy or telekinesis or any of the powers based on his comic book counterparts, but alas, the Thinker is just a thinker. He wasn't lying when he said that those nodes were just to make his brain good. I was kind of hoping that maybe in the next movie, Peter Capaldi could like step out and it could be revealed that he does have telepathy powers of the nodes and he was projecting an illusion of himself so real that it even fooled Starro. But then I realised that was basically just Richard E. Grant in Loki and it's not going to happen. And you know, just because I'm a Doctor Who fanboy doesn't mean that I should expect Peter Capaldi to be in everything, even though he should be, god damn it.
And do not move, or I will perform a living autopsy on you.
As for the future of the Suicide Squad, well, I think you should Mission Impossible it. We've had David Ayer, we've had James Gunn. Give it to someone completely fresh and new who can give it like a whole new spin and like just tonally shake it up. Because there's no tonal consistency between the theatrical 2016 Suicide Squad and the James Gunn Suicide Squad, so we might as well just have something completely different again. I'd love for the survivors of each movie to pop up in like the next respective sequel and just get killed off or obliterated in the first 10 minutes to make way for another cast of D-listers. James Gunn should make some original movies when he's done with Guardians. He has more than enough cred now. As for the titles, keep avoiding any sense of continuity. A Suicide Squad? Suicide Squadding. The Suicide Squad? More Suicide Squads? When Suicide Squad? I'm sure another James Gunn Suicide Squad film would be as good as this one, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not sure if I need another one. The Peacemaker show is already the perfect James Gunn DC follow-up. Switching to long-form storytelling focused on just one character from the squad sounds like it has all the makings of a fantastic spiritual sequel. I can't wait to see what Gunn does with Peacemaker, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to die.
And
As for the remaining characters, why not stick King Shark and Aquaman too? I'm sure he'd get on really well with Aquaman, and Aquaman would probably communicate with him better than anyone else in the DC universe. And besides, I don't really want to see him go up for the chop again, like put him in something more comedic. I need to see more of Bloodshot. And I think you could give him a substantial set of rogues in the next movie. I didn't realise this guy was actually classed as a Superman villain. That's some massive brass balls right there. What a great character, a regular human mercenary, and he's classed as a Superman villain. So, Suicide Squad 3, why not have Henry Cavill show up to stop the Suicide Squad before Bloodsport convinces his longtime foe that they have a common objective in stopping whatever the evil thing this time is. It would be cool to see Superman in a movie from Dubois' perspective, and you could avoid that whole antagonistic evil Superman trope by having them just talk it out, and, you know, Superman, being the character that he is, would understandably be like, oh, okay, I trust you, Dubois, and now let's go and sort out whatever problem there is. Also, I don't think Superman's too powerful to show up in a scenario like this. Just write a clever reason to make him at risk, just like the other squatters. It would be a great team up. Also, bring back Henry Cavill. It wouldn't feel like it was just a tacked-on cameo appearance like in the first Suicide Squad with Batman and the Flash, because Dubois actually has a relationship with him that you could explore. I'd also like to see Bloodsport take on Bloodsport 2, a white supremacist from the comics who takes his name as a sarcastic screw you. The Suicide Squad should give us absolutely proper arsehole villains, that the other members of the squad, the ones who turn out to be good along the course of the journey, they get them to blast them to bits. Bloodsport versus Bloodsport 2. I want to see Idris Elba fuck this guy up. That'd be fucking fun. Peacemaker and Bloodsport going at it with the bullet thing was the best moment of this movie, so I would love to see him get like another rival in the next one in Bloodsport 2. Elba was originally cast as Deadshot before WB and Gunn decided to use him as a different character instead, allowing Big Willie to return if he so chooses in a future movie. With that in mind, it would be cool to see Deadshot return to the fold and have a frenemy-style relationship with Bloodsport. They could even make fun of the fact they're both expert marksmen with terrible relationships to their daughters. What are the chances? The only problem is, as with Harley, Will Smith's Deadshot is pretty unkillable. He's an A-lister, he's Will Smith. Ratcatcher isn't very bad to begin with. Does she actually kill anyone other than Starro? So I think, like King Shark, you could give her a good role in another DC movie. If these 4 surviving characters, Harley, Ratcatcher, Bloodsport and King Shark, all get big lead roles in a 3rd Suicide Squad movie, then I think it will start to become safe again. Keep the Suicide Squad movies dangerous. Let Harley go off on her own adventures and cast a bunch of D-listers that could get offed at any moment. Because that is the absolute best thing about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, and any follow-up needs to bear it in mind. Overall, I think The Suicide Squad is a hella tight movie, and you should go and check it out. And check me out in the movie. And you should definitely go see it, maybe with a loved one, or if failing that, you could see it by yourself. If you liked any of the goddamn digital art shown in this video, then head on over to Instagram at full_fat_video at full_fat_videos. If you don't follow this motherfucker here, then I'm gonna come to your house and hunt you down in the name of liberty. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at fullfatvideos. If you goddamn motherfucking love this video, then don't forget to subscribe and share to all your funny little friends. A big personal thank you to our Full Fat tier patrons, Dr. Chike, Jax Merrick and Cyrus Solker. Your ongoing support keeps the lights on. Until next time, keep it full fat.